Hey, it's time for another Wisdom of the Masters. I am Sean Webb. Today's mastery comes from Saint Anthony, who said this: "The prayer of the monk is not perfect until he no longer recognizes himself or the fact that he's praying." Okay, so what does that mean? Well, this goes back to the fact that the original intention of prayer itself, and the whole reason for all of the monasteries throughout Europe, by the way, in the Christian tradition, were all about one thing, and that is to attain the prayer of quiet. The prayer of quiet has many names that include contemplative prayer, or centering prayer, or meditation. And this was the prayer that the monk was supposed to try to perfect. It was sitting in silence, listening for God, and clearing the mind to the point that he no longer identifies with himself or the fact that he's praying. And so this deep level of meditation where the mind ceases is exactly what Zen meditation is all about. It's all about focusing on not thinking. And not thinking, from a scientific perspective, changes your thought patterns in your mind from what they usually are to quiet. And then a different pattern can arise out of that silence. And that is typically what we call an awakening or an enlightenment, that allows the brain to do something different than what it normally does, and you experience something different than what you normally experience. And this is something that is written within all of our DNA to enable, if we get into that space of complete quietude and complete silence of mind, to where whatever's next can then arise. And so when St. Anthony's talking about the prayer of the monk not being perfect until he no longer identifies that he's a monk or that he's praying, you can't identify with being a monk if your mind is completely silent, because you are no longer identifying with self, which is a process of the mind. And at the time that your mind is silent, you are no longer a monk. Or the fact that you are praying, you have an intention, you have an attachment to an activity that you're engaging in, until your mind silences to the point that you no longer have that intention. You no longer have that attachment of action, at which point you no longer identify that you're praying. Right? That is the complete solitude and silence of the mind. That is exactly what St. Anthony was talking about. And so it's no different in the Christian tradition than the Buddhist tradition, than the Islamic meditations. The Kabbalah in Judaism talks about sitting in meditation and quieting the mind and realizing all the stuff that exists beyond your regular existence. It's all the same stuff. It's all the same stuff. And St. Anthony was simply putting it that way, in that the perfection of the prayer, the perfection of the thing that's supposed to bring you closest to God, isn't perfect until the monk doesn't realize that he's a monk or that he's praying. And that's exactly what he's talking about. So, pick your poison. Pick your discipline. Pick your activity that helps quiet your mind. Start with guided meditation, then go into Vipassana, where you simply sit and watch your mind and its activity to get to know your mind and what it tries to do to distract you. Focus in Zen meditation, sitting and focus on stopping conscious thought within your mind, like I did, which was helped open the door for my awakening, right? This is a real thing. You can induce these states, and you really expand and you really learn what depth of knowledge and wisdom exists deep within you that you don't normally have access to, because your mind's up here making all this noise most of the time. Get that to quiet down, you'll gain access to the stuff that is down below, the stuff that you really want to know. I hope this message finds you well. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Share this shit.